Okay, we're recording.
All righty. Time is 7:04, and I call this session of the Senate to order. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Like, join me.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty then. Madam Clerk, whenever you're ready, could you please call the roll?
Senator Coleman, Senator Janetti, Senator Gielig, Senator Hernandez, Senator Kiwu, Senator Lang, Senator Majors, Senator Marty, Senator Purnell, Senator Reberg, Senator Reyes, Senator Richardson, Senator Schroffnagel, Senator Thompson, Senator Vanderhyde, Senator Wheaton, Senator Werner, Speaker Patrigas.
Present. All right, with that, we're into the Senate oath of office. We're going to start with Hayden Punzel and Alex Arnett. Can we maybe move that table or just come around? Might as well go behind through the doors there. Congratulations. You've been chosen by the students of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater as a senator on this student government. Understanding that you have been chosen to perform such an active and important role, do you accept the position of senator and all of the responsibilities, duties, and privileges that it will include? If so, say "I will" to the best of my ability.
I will to the best of my ability.
I will to the best of my ability.
All right, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Hayden Edward Punzel.
Matt,
Do solemnly swear.
do solemnly swear
You can say it. To fulfill the obligations and responsibilities of my office.
To fulfill the responsibilities and obligations of my office.
To be knowledgeable of.
To be knowledgeable of.
to be knowledgeable of,
And uphold the WSG Constitution.
And to uphold the WSG Constitution.
uphold the WSG Constitution,
The WSG standing rules.
The WSG standing rules.
WSG standards,
And university policies.
And university policies.
To the best of my ability.
To the best of my ability.
Congratulations. It's my pleasure to introduce the two new senators of Whitewater Student Government. Got a spot at the table here. All righty. With that, we are into appointments, starting with the, we'll have, for appointments, we have different districts, right? The Drumlin district is people who live on the Whitewater campus. Is the six-pack and Pulliam. Off campus is anywhere not on the main Whitewater campus. Rock County district is anyone attending classes at the Rock County district, and then at large is anyone. But with that, we are into the appointment of one Drumlin district seat. Is there anyone in the gallery interested? Seeing none, we go into the appointment of three off-campus district seats. Is there anyone in the gallery interested? Seeing none. We go to the appointment of two Rock County district seats. Is there anyone in the gallery interested? We'll go into the appointment of two at-large seats. Is there anyone in the gallery interested? You are. Alrighty. You wanted to come up here to the podium? You might have to leave around the doors. There's no screen, is there? Alrighty. If you just want to tell us who you are, why you're interested in student government, we'll take some questions on.
Sweet. Hi, my name is Melina Wells. I'm currently a junior at UW-Whitewater, studying history education, secondary. I'm a little bit interested, I'm interested in this position because I have people that I know, such as Keaton and Courtney, who I've seen serve, and they do such a great job. I want to be more involved within student government. They've given me the push to really join and see what I could do. I do have experience when it comes to leadership positions. I've served in leadership positions before in FBLA, FFA. I also am a former Greek member, and then I also serve as a representative for the College of Letters and Sciences on SUFAC. Any questions?
All good. With that, we'll do 3 questions. Senator Marty, first one.
It's a big deal that you drove all the way up here to Rock County on our special campus, and I want to say thank you so much for doing that. Why does this, how dedicated are you to being a passionate member of student government?
I'm very dedicated. I already visit the WSG office pretty regularly now. I'm very interested in becoming more part of student government and being able to be somebody that people can come to with questions regarding the campus and regarding like leadership opportunities and things like that. I've always been very, very passionate for leadership. And just being a leader is something that I always hold really close to my heart, seeing as I am looking into becoming an educator. So something that I find I can do well, and I am very dedicated to it.
Alrighty. We're gonna go to Senator Thompson then.
Where I would like to focus, honestly, really where anybody needs me most. I'd like to focus more on student voices being heard and making sure that everybody's concerns or, I don't know what the word for it is, like positives is portrayed within student government. While also, making sure that everybody who does have a concern or does have something that they want to bring to the attention of student government, has that opportunity to do so and is ensured that their voice is heard and that something is being done and that they are being recognized.
Sweet. And then Senator Punzel with the last.
So, you might be a lot in high school in terms of leadership. What is your biggest accomplishment as a leader? And how you wish to bring what you.
My biggest accomplishment, honestly, I mean, I served as president of my FFA chapter, and then I've also made it to nationals for FFA and FBLA. With public speaking, I look to bring those more to the sense of. That's a great question. I think it's more of the sense of like, I have something to bring, so if there's a way that I might be able to. Hello, if there's a way that I can aid in student government or aid with really anything at all, like, I mean, even if a position that I serve is big or small, I hope to do that with the experiences that I've gained before. I don't think that I'm better than anybody by serving what I've served in the past. I don't think, I think my experiences are unique to myself and my unique experiences could bring different outlooks into student government and possibly make different change or different outlooks into things that people may not have realized or thought of before.
Sweet. Thank you for joining us. You can, if you just want to remind us of your name.
Melina Wells.
Perfect. You can just head back to your seat here. But go to a roll call vote. You can vote aye or nay for the candidate, or you can abstain or pass and all the usual things. Any questions on anything? Procedure? Not seeing any. Madam Clerk, if you please call the roll whenever you're ready.
Senator Arnett, Senator Janetti, Senator Gielig, Senator Kiwu, Senator Lang, Senator Majors, Senator Marty, Senator Purnell, Senator Punzel, Senator Reberg, Senator Reyes, Senator Schroffnagel, Senator Thompson, Senator Vanderhyde, Senator Wheatman, Senator Werner, Speaker Patricus.
Aye. With that, I want to congratulate Melina Wells for being our newest senator. Alrighty, we're gonna go a little out of order to the approval of the agenda for April 13th, 2026. Because I'm gonna ask for unanimous consent to add President-elect Isaiah Wilson under guest speakers, remove one at-large seat, and then add AI Student Advisory under external committee reports. Any opposed? Seeing none. The agenda has been amended. Looking for a motion to approve on the agenda. Senator Lang. Looking for a second. Senator Punzel. Perfect. So second. Going to a voice vote. Acclamation's been called. Any opposed? Seeing none, the agenda's been approved. With that, we're to guest speakers, starting with Tricia Clayton, who is Assistant Vice Chancellor and Dean of the College of Integrated Studies.
Good evening. Thanks so much for coming out. We always appreciate WSG's interest in the success of the College of Integrated Studies at the UW-Whitewater at Rock County campus. Hope you've enjoyed the tour. Those of you who are new, I hope it was eye-opening. For those of you at WSG who were at the Strategic Budget and Planning Committee, we started out in a freezer this morning and we've ended up in an oven. So we'll get through this, right? Very cold this morning. So this year has been an eventful year like all years before. One of the things that's been a challenge as we navigated all of fall was Act 15. And I don't know how aware you all are, but for us, the impact was really a major change to our entire degree. We had to revise Gen Ed in association with Whitewater's College's general education, and that also meant an entire change of our degree pathway. Still, we'll be exploring what that means for us. We're making some big guesses in terms of curriculum in the fall and how that impact will come into play. An offshoot to that, which you may not know yet, is that we have decided to sunset our Associate of Arts and Sciences degree, and Whitewater's Associate of Arts degree is now housed in the College of Integrated Studies. We have the same emphasis areas within it, but the idea being that Whitewater should have only one associate degree housed in one college. In addition to that, our focus has been on expanding programmatically our areas of nursing and medical science. I know you've toured areas and talked about that. In addition to our partnership with Mercy Health, that is a very competitive program, and many students who join us for medical science will not get into that program. We need to find alternative spaces for them. One of the things that we have put through the curriculum committee is an emphasis area, and I don't know the name, sorry, that is more of a general medical science. It's meant to allow students to continue toward a four-year degree, even if they're on a wait list or trying to get into another program, but they may pivot. So this could be a pre-med, pre-health, pre-pharm, pre-PA, pre-vet, whatever. It's a choose your own adventure. Built with some clinical and patient experience. So really designed to be about that practical component. We are also in the midst of writing a grant, a rural health initiative grant, which would lead us to our own accreditation in radiography and sonography. So fingers crossed, knock on wood, whatever you do in that area. Our efforts are showing good results. I mean, if we direct admit is so hard to deal with, and still for us, we show like 1,300 admits for fall of 26, which is not realistic. It's 60% up. We don't intend to land there. We think it'll probably be more like about 5% up from last year. Fall was 18% up over the previous year. Our SOAR numbers are really strong, and that's what we're using to track more than anything. We have 179 students signed up for SOAR at this point, which is 67 more students than last year at this time. So strong efforts there. We know that our new programming and our recruitment efforts are working well. So the next phase is really focused on retention and persistence areas. The two new programs that were implemented this year are Project Excellence for students who meet weekly with mentorship. They get free lunch, they work on their academic planning, and if they do everything correctly, in addition to the free lunch, they get a $200 scholarship for spring. We have Operation Second Chances for students coming in after probation, and that they have to meet with a retention coordinator to develop an academic plan, which involves a certain level of tutoring, et cetera. If they do that, they actually have a hold on registration, so for early registration, and that is lifted if they do what they need to do. So continuing to work in that space, as well as looking at additional professional development for staff and faculty. We know one of our challenges is that our student population, our first-time, full-time cohort of fall students was 65% first-generation students. So they need additional supports, right, to feel like they understand the college vocabulary and the processes. And so we want to make sure our faculty and staff are prepared to assist with that. We've been able to add, we're in the process of hiring a new advisor. We added a whole other position. It's an advisor and student success coach, kind of modeling a little bit on the things happening on the Whitewater campus. That's brand new. Some additional staff areas. We have a well-being navigator who just came in a couple of weeks ago. Many of our students have not been taking advantage of whether it's mental health services or physical health services here on campus, but this person serves to help direct people to the appropriate resources. They're participating in like the wellness fair, putting on programming, trying to engage students in that area. I don't know how many of you are aware, but our amazing Janine Peterson is retiring next month. And so we just came up yesterday or like Friday as our student experience coordinator. So we're looking to hire in that area as well. Obviously faculty, that's another place where we're hiring folks. So trying to make sure that we have both support for new growth and so people will then be able to sustain. In addition to that kind of program, other investments include our campus environment. I don't know if when you were walking around campus, we did some reglazing of bathrooms, trying to judge that up. As a county-owned facility, we can't do construction. We can't pay for construction. So we can only pay for some things that are like, you know, cosmetics, that kind of thing. We totally anticipate continuing around the space and finding more bathrooms to upgrade because nobody wants an ugly bathroom. We have on order 3 classrooms for new tables and chairs, which will also help us to some degree with class capacity. Some of our tables are very old and big, and they take up more space than some of the smaller ones. We have new furniture coming in the lounge area of the Wells Culture Center. Tomorrow, I'm meeting about what we can do in this area as part of our discussions about improving the dining experience, which does have some challenges here, is this environment. We still need to maintain the functionality of the space as a meeting area, but how can we change out the tabling to give some dimension, update depth, and then lighting and music, much like UC experience can be there. So those are a lot of the things that we're working on. It's been a busy year. Expect more growth and excitement in the future. Questions?
Are there any questions for Assistant Vice Chancellor Clason? Deputy Speaker Vander?
What are you guys doing to encourage the use of wellness spaces within the school?
Well, you know, in the past, obviously, it was, you know, communication is the same as most people are using, email, social media, et cetera. I think at this point now, having the wellness navigator, her goal is to be out and about more often, to be available physically, whether it's tabling in the commons areas or just making sure people know she's around.
Alrighty, Senator Marty?
Thing about this connection between UW-Whitewater and UW-Rock County for, because I can see like from your speech that we have been coordinating with the classes and doing all these things. Next year's your 10-year anniversary.
10th year? I mean, 2018 was the year that we were integrated, so a little bit less than 10 years. I would say that we have the very best relationship in all of the universities of Wisconsin. It has been an amazing experience. There were challenges in the beginning, and sometimes there are still challenges, but we see tremendous opportunity. A lot of it is that our leadership is supportive and recognizes the ability that this campus can play in leveraging relationships in the Janesville-Beloit area, which is a larger community than the Whitewater area. Leveraging the diversity of our student body and growing really the diversity of our programming, which is unique. So it's been good. There's always room for improvement. We're seeing some changes even this coming fall. The College of Business and Economics has been assisting us with introductory business courses. In this coming year, they're actually going to hire folks to come here and be on-site physically teaching College of Business courses so students can stay on a pathway in that degree area. So I think it's been really phenomenal, and I'm grateful for everything that has happened, even the challenges, because they've led us to where we are. I believe Whitewater as a whole has gone from a culture of, no, I don't think we can do that, to we'll figure it
What do you think?
out. It's a little fast.
How have you seen enrollment at the college trending in recent years?
Fall, we were up 18% over the previous year, and we're expected to be probably 5.8% up. That's the budget for fall.
Senator Coleman?
Colleagues and I are currently conducting the assessment on the program here at Rockland. Are there any areas
I'm not sure what you're referencing in terms of a recently established advising program.
In collaboration, for the overall AAC and, coordinates.
I don't. We don't have a recently established advising program. I'm not sure. Our college has had professional advising always. So I'm not familiar with that. We have an advising manager. We have 2.5 advisors and another one coming in. So I'm not familiar with that.
So, there is a strategic plan going on in order to have coordinates with, reforming transferability to the main campus. So that students that are outside of the integrated studies can have understanding of the resources that are available at the main campus and also on campus.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with particular, I don't. Yeah,
So there is,
Yield to Director Gross.
there is some conversation with the advisors, so there, college advisors, from their home. 1% of them have. It's not rock specific, it's all not for all advisors. We have like. Talk before about that.
one of the things talked about at the Strategic Budget and Planning Committee today is that one priority of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater is an overall advising model. Now, what does that mean? That doesn't necessarily mean one way of advising. We talked a lot about that this morning. So it's what are our priorities as an institution? What are our goals? What are our metrics that we want to use? And our college would be a part of that. But I don't think it's like unique to Act 15. It's about the entire sense of how does this campus do advising and how do we as a whole, as a university, create a good experience for students from beginning to graduation.
Are there any other questions? Any final questions? Senator Marty?
What is one thing you love about White Rock County?
So I've been here 24 years. There's not much I don't love about this campus. This is a place where you know every day that what you're doing matters to the people around you and you feel valued for doing it. You're making a difference in your community, and what we do impacts people out there who are the people who serve me at restaurants, who are the people who take care of me at hospitals. And so I love being here because the connection between my community and education is so evident.
Seeing any other questions? So I'll take the last one. Was it your idea to do the video with Willie where you switched places?
No, that was Angelica Chapman Sykes, who is our marketing coordinator. She came to me and she wanted to do it on April Fool's Day, but we were a little behind, but it was cute.
I love that on the
Thanks.
video. Alrighty, thank you for joining us. With that, we're gonna do our second guest speaker of the night, President-elect Isaiah Wilson, the one and only.
I do like that little
Can't do it.
disappear re-entry. I think maybe we could get some music playing or something.
Do get a fog machine.
All right, well, it's good to be with you all. As promised to Mr. Speaker, I'm going to keep things very short tonight. But I'm happy to announce that as planned last week, we have concluded our Chief of Staff search. And I have two big announcements to make tonight. The first is that for both organizational clarity as well as internal and external kind of alignment with the language, we decided to change the name of the Chief of Staff Directorship to the Operations Lead. So from now on, we'll kind of refer to that by that title, just so everybody is kind of in order. And the second big thing is to announce that we are thrilled to have chosen Olivia Gross as the next operations lead. First ever in that case. With the operations lead now in place, we will be submitting to you all legislation to introduce that change as well as other necessary structural changes to the standing rules. So any necessary changes to e-board or whatnot, that'll all be submitted next week and then it'll all be S-Ledge, so it'll go through the 2-week process, just like anything else. But excited to see you for the 3rd week in a row up at the podium. Lastly, Paige, Liv, and I will be opening up applications tomorrow morning for next year's executive board for the following positions. They will be posted to our campaign Instagram. The applications they'll be posted to the WSG Instagram. They'll be circulated internally, and then of course posted to Connect 2 as well. Those positions will be the Director of Academic Affairs, the Director of Student Affairs, the Associate Director of Student Affairs, the Director of Greek Life and Student Engagement, and Video and Production Specialist. Thank you to the many of you who have already expressed a ton of interest in those positions. If you have any questions, circle with me afterward. Can't wait to hear. I'm sure many of you will apply, and I can't wait to see you in the interview. So I don't know if.
Do you want questions?
I mean, if you, I'll take a few.
Are there questions for the President-elect, Senator Marty?
What is the qualifications for these jobs so we can make sure that we can do the best job? Are they going to be listed on your Instagram or anything so we can ask the question ourselves and then apply?
The qualifications will be listed on the application. So when you click into Connect 2, you'll see the application, kind of what each job description is. Obviously, if you have any questions, I'm here now. You can ask now, or you can ask, after the meeting ends, you can ask me about the specifics of any of those roles. But as it relates to what you want to bring, we're excited to kind of build it with the team. And of course, we're open to all students applying. So.
Senator Punkel?
I'm gonna keep it short. I'll be honest, I don't know a whole lot of Greek life, but I can make a specific director position. Focus on Greek life. That's a great question. And I want to make it clear that the title is the Director of Greek Life and Student Engagement. So what that means to our administration is, as it relates to Greek life, which is a certain area of interest to lots of constituents. When we were campaigning, I talked to 600 people in 48 hours, and my gosh, was Greek life one of the most important things that people brought up. As it relates to care in that space, changes in that space, if they are to occur, it's really important that those folks have representation. And I think that there is plenty of work to be done there. But if it was just Greek life, I would say, maybe we don't need just one directorship for that. But that student engagement piece is huge. And when I refer to student engagement, I'm referring to clubs, their funding through SUFAC. I'm referring to student organizations, how we communicate to them. I think our organization has a ton of opportunity to reach out to student organizations in a really precise manner to to treat that constituency as a unique constituency and hear what they have to say. And that'll be a lot of the work of that directorship. Thank you for that question. I was looking forward to that question.
Senator Geely?
So, you kind of described, more of the ways of what that position, like, how would that actually look like? You said like with representing like the clubs and stuff like that, like what will this position actually be?
That's a great question. I'll say a few things. Number one is I'm going to upfront say that I'm not going to say everything. Because there are some of those things that I want to keep close to the chest and kind of build with whoever is the first to step into that position. I think it's really important in the same way that we kind of pivoted in the last week around the chief of staff name change and some of how that description looks. I think it's important to realize that as the administration grows and we get more in touch with the needs of our constituents, some of those things can kind of twist and turn. But what is the day-to-day of what that director does? Well, there are lots of student engagement specific folks who work for the university. So that director will be meeting with those folks. They'll be meeting with the relevant Greek life folks. So Rams, if anyone knows Ramsey, was recently promoted to a Greek life specific position. I assume that director will be consistently in contact with that individual. But like I said, also doing really targeted reach outs to student organizations is something that we haven't seen student government do in a while. I'm excited to do it next year. Again, in a more targeted way than just stopping into their general meetings, but to say, if you're a Association for Computer Machining is one of the organizations that endorsed our campaign, and they have there are particular constituency as it relates to our work in AI. It's important that we utilize that constituency so that we can continue to best represent those students.
Alrighty, Director Rosquist.
Yeah, wondering what are you looking for students that are interested? It is a student board component in the group. Are you going to be, is it going to be required that you are a member of Greek Life? Is it for a member?
I will broadly say that I'm willing to be surprised, and I would bar no student from ever applying to any of our jobs. That said, we are going to very heavily weight your experience in student organizations, but particularly your experience in Greek Life. If we had a cultural affairs director, they would need to have some specific cultural experience in order to well represent those constituents. This is very simple. That's not to say that we're not open to being surprised. I can't wait to see who applies, and we'll hire the best people. I've got a pretty high bar, so.
Then for the last question, Senator Thompson.
So I know it's just announced, so you may not have specific, but if you're like the sort of timeline you guys have.
For like approval and whatnot?
Yeah.
So I can tell you the timeline that we have worked out right now is that next week, we'll have all of the positional changes, if there are any, introduced on the floor. I am, of course, at the whims of the Senate in terms of how long or how in depth y'all want to go in building those position descriptions alongside us. After that, we will roll out the approval of each of those directorships as they come. So in the past, it has sort of been at one meeting at the end of the semester, each director is approved on the same agenda. I don't assume that to be the case. When we know that we have the student affairs director, you'll know because their name will be on the agenda, and they might be the only name up for approval on that agenda. So we're going to go as they come and as we know that those are the right people for the job.
Alrighty, and I hate to limit questions, but we are on a kind of a time crunch, so feel free to talk to Mr. Wilson afterwards. With that, we are into student issues. We are into student issues and concerns. Under this section, no formal action will be taken, although issues raised may become part of a future agenda. Participants would be allowed a 3-minute speaking period, and topics on the agenda may not be spoken about in this period. Are there any student issues or concerns anyone would like to raise? Seeing none, we'll go into reports, starting with the external committee reports with the Warhawk Dining Advisory Committee with Senator Lang. Just want to stand up at your seat. Perfect.
Good evening, everybody. This past Thursday, April 9th, the Warhawk Dining Advisory Committee met for our monthly meeting. First, a quick thank you to everyone who took the NACF survey. It was all looked at, considered over the summer. There are some end of semester dining deals going on. Case orders specifically of drinks and various snacks. If you're interested in that, please order by here in 20 seconds. $90 in new plans will both expire on May 16th period that is also taking investment. Next up, WSG is a confirmed partner for the food trailer kickoff event, which will be late night breakfast this semester is going to be May 6th at 10 p.m. in Esker. Hot cards are required, but other than that, it's free for students. Lastly, as always, please continue to push the text chat feature for anyone with this need. And with that,
Are there any questions for Senator Lang? We'll take at most 3. Senator Marty.
On May 5th, the Warhawk Dining late night breakfast is pretty popular around campus. How do you want to make sure to utilize that? Dining so we can get our word out for SWSG citizens.
yeah, I would say just in general, kind of tell your friends, tell people you know. May 6th, 10 p.m. You will also probably start seeing signage around campus at some point. Probably pushed by dining. I'm sure there will be a couple of social media posts about it. If you see something, repost it or just tell your friends.
Director Rosquist with a question? Or do you have time to yield? All right, input? Okay.
If you're interested in learning more, the student affairs committee will be meeting at 5 this week, and we can kind of have a slight plan of how we would like to be represented late at breakfast.
The goal is to have most of the committee. Great spot.
And Senator Gillig.
5 p.m. where?
WCC.
Point of privilege, can they have an Outlook calendar invite?
If you have any questions about the Student Affairs Committee, I would encourage you to ask those during the report, or to Director Rosequist herself. But is there any questions about the Warhawk Dining Advisory Committee report? Final call. Seeing none, we will go into the AI Student Advisory Committee with Isaiah Wilson. Let's do a second wrap around.
Hello, folks. Good to see you once again. Pleasure as always. Today, the AI Advisory Committee met
For the first time, right?
for the first time ever. We spent a large portion of the beginning of the semester working with John Spike to get the representatives from each college onto this committee. We have almost, combined with the WSG representation, we have representation from every college and a bunch of different departments. So we were really excited to see that. It's kind of rare that we get folks from graduate colleges there. That was wonderful representation at that committee today. So very excited about that. We went through a couple agenda items. I'll read off the agenda items and then give a brief kind of overview of what we did in each. We went over some big announcements. John Spike, the chair of the committee, and the special assistant to the provost for AI. Then asked the committee a couple different questions just to kind of get a temperature of the room about what students' experience with AI was like. We talked about transparency in AI use for faculty, for staff, and for students. We talked about student AI literacy and approaches, and we talked about possible shared governance partnerships around sort of what the future of AI on campus looks like. So not just from a student government perspective, but from a faculty senate perspective and other shared governance groups around campus. To kind of dive into just a few of those, you can ask questions if you want to on any of them. The first announcement was the ChatGPT EDU license is being used in courses by 245 students in 15 courses. There are 425 licenses in use across the campus with 180 faculty and staff using those licenses. So lots of folks taking advantage of that license that the university has got. I don't have a ton of details on it, but if you want follow-ups, I can fill in some of the blanks. Some of the questions that Chair Spike asked the committee were, what are some of your observations about how AI has been used on campus? How they affected assignments, assessments? What are some of the observations in how your field post-grad is being affected by AI? Are your professors and faculty going over those kinds of things? And what are some positive and negative experiences you've had with AI inside the classroom and outside of the classroom? We talked a little bit about transparency, the data that the university is collecting, if any, the data they're not collecting, the data that shouldn't be put into third-party AI tools. We talked about AI literacy, so there's how are we informing our new students through new student seminar, how to interact with some of these tools. We talked a little bit about the ethical and moral responsibilities and objections to AI, which are super important conversations to be having. And then, like I said, we kind of wrapped with that charter about the shared governance. So I yield, Mr. Speaker, any questions?
Are there any questions, Senator Maker?
The ChatGPT. What exactly that is?
So again, I'm not an expert, but from what I roughly understand, and Nick was there, Nick can kind of correct me, and I think Liv knows a little bit about this as well, so she can pop in. The university has an external license with ChatGPT to use its like educational platform or use its tools in an educational sense in both the classroom and as a tool for students. It's not like any student can just log on and use the ChatGPT EDU version. These professors apply through the university. They say, this is a class that I think this license makes a lot of sense for. Would you be willing to allow me to use it? And it seems based on what John Spike has told me that they are greenlighting a ton of those, as many as possible. And even in the places where they're not immediately greenlighting, they're really just circling to ask additional questions
about how exactly it's going to be used in a classroom. So it's not, for instance, like the way university gives us access to Adobe, like we can't just log on. But after an application by a faculty or student, those licenses can be then given out. And we have a certain amount of licenses. I think it's 425 licenses like that given out, and many already in use.
Senator Punkel?
I'd like to apologize for this question, sounds critical, but. Well, there for sure. So interested in AI, would that be more left up like the individual professors on how they utilize AI?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that question is a critical question. I think that's a great question. I think, so Faculty Senate is a collection of faculty, right? So in the same way that we're a collection of students designed to help advise on a bunch of different student issues, that's what Faculty Senate is too. And lots of faculty, just like lots of students, are interested in the topic of AI. So they get together and they help craft policy and language and opinions of the faculty, just like any other government group. Yeah, did that answer your question, or do you follow? Okay, good.
Chair Holmbeck?
About whether you're providing these services for some giving resources to students and faculty, or if it's for.
I don't know. I can follow up and circle. When you say for research purposes, what do you mean in that way?
I think it's mostly just AI. I heard a lot of in UW system about of AI in particular, and I know the lines where it's acceptable and unacceptable.
Yeah, I know that last part in particular is a large part of the work that John Spike is doing. Despite his title, I think just like lots of folks on the committee, I think Nick can attest, there, by no means did we get in a room and talk about how great AI is. I think a lot of the conversation was about what are the best ways to move forward in a newly kind of AI-driven world. And a lot of those conversations are kind of reservation based, and a lot of those conversations are, excitement based on how you look at the technologies and the tools. In terms of the research or if it's being used as a tool, I can circle with you after this, and maybe we could craft a question that I could give to John. He's like extremely responsible. Very. So.
Bridge our last question to Senator Majors.
Completely unrelated to my previous one. You mentioned just that probably been for the ethical, but environmental aspects also included in the competition. What environmental brought was
They weren't mentioned, the environmental ones. He asked at the end if there was anything that we did want to get to. I think we focused mainly on moral, ethical, and religious objections to AI. And from a student perspective, this is kind of how I framed it to him in an advisory capacity. I said, I think as we grow, if we do as a campus in our use of these tools, two things that I think are really important to prioritize is that any student in a student affairs context, if they have ethical, moral, or religious objections to AI, need to be able to opt out of those tools and still have a great student affairs experience. And any folks on the academic side of things who have a moral, ethical, or religious objection to AI need to be able to opt out of those tools and still get, the stellar UW-Whitewater education academic experience that we provide. So as it relates to some of the ethical concerns, I think we were kind of up in, as I like to say, that we were up in the forest. But as we get more in the trees, as the committee continues to meet, I'm sure the environmental impact will also be brought up. And I can circle with you after this if there's like a way that you want that formulated, and we can pass that to John Spike.
All right, with that, we are into advisory councils.
Thank you very much.
With the Rock Student Government Association, and Chair Andy Holmberg.
So I prepared a little script for you all. I have a lot more updates to give you in next meeting, but Hello, everyone. Thank you all for taking the time to come out here to the Rock campus this evening. It truly warms my heart to see so many dedicated and eloquent people in one room. I'd love to start off by saying that I am ecstatic at the progress that we have made together, and I'm so excited for the future of Whitewater student government. I couldn't have done nearly as much without the valuable connections I've formed with this group, and look forward to what we can accomplish next. I'd like to start off by mentioning that we have recently merged our annual instructor award, which previously awarded 2 professors, 1 faculty, and the other instructional academic staff with WSG's instructor award. Before, both RFGA and WSG gave different awards for the College of Integrated Studies. Correspondingly, we adopted WSG's qualitative approach to selecting instructor award recipients, which relies on a point system rather than simple popularity. We appreciated the thoughtfulness of sending nominees the feedback that their students had written. It's a sweet and sentimental treat that I believe the instructors deserved to receive a long time ago. I know that since the start of being chair, I have attended many shared governance meetings, which is a unique experience for me each time. I have the opportunity to talk to UW system officials as well as student representatives from every UW campus. I'm sure all of you have heard the recent news about President Jay Rothman being removed from service from the Board of Regents. I saw that it had been covered just hours ago on the Royal Purple. While I did not attend the student representative discussions on this matter, the most notable reason that the Regents gave Rothman for his dismissal is something that I believe needs attention now more than ever. Jay Rothman oversaw the closure of 6 separate UW brand campuses since 2023, some of them older than some main campuses we know of. The main thing this is solely because of budgetary inefficiencies that those campuses dealt with. It is something much deeper than that. Wisconsin had promised to give affordable and accessible education to the public, and closing the campuses rather than subsidizing or relocating them suddenly began vanishing with little more than 6-month notice to all students attending there, as well as the faculty by those institutions. It was Wisconsin's responsibility to educate their youth, but they went in the direction of profit and privatization. Now, as we enter a space of uncertainty regarding a new hire for the position, I'd like to propose to the Senate now that we begin having conversations and making powerful statements to administration, including the Board of Regents, that at the very least the public needs to hear when closure becomes recommended as an option. And for those meetings to remain in open session. I also strongly believe that while two-year campuses can be assets when managed correctly, they are also staples in a community that births opportunity for growth of all the Wisconsin regions. Two-year campuses have played a vital role in the realization of thousands of students' dreams and aided in their accomplishments. I can personally relate to this. As someone who had a less than ideal high school experience, I was able to start anew at UROC and build up my academic. Here, I have grown exponentially, established relationships, and received quality and compassionate education in a way that four-year campuses never could have allotted those same for me. I implore you to look further into branch campus closures as it is something that affects not just small portions of the population, but hinders the educational opportunities of individuals in need of an alternative. Lastly, and unrelatedly, I'd like to suggest to the Senate that we grant the first Rocket advisor, Janine Peterson, emeritus status. She has done a plethora of unsung work on end that has given life to students' wishes and desires. She's always stood as a compassionate and competent figure in each student she comes across, and has truly made an impact in the lives of our student board. Without Janine, I fear our SGA would have collapsed a long time ago. And now it's our turn to take the reins. Thank you, WSG.
Thank you for that, Andy Holbeck. With that, we're going to do the report of our Segregated University Fee Allocation Committee with its chairman, Oren Smith.
Sorry, I know it's been less than a month and I've been up here. This is not my monthly report. Coming down the pike soon for you all, it's going to be some SUFAC policy and procedure documentation for you all to vote on. So we've been working very hard this semester on aligning our current SUPAC policy and procedure document to the new policies and procedures that are being implemented across the whole institution. So today I have a draft example of what the current draft, I'm going to say draft a few more times.
Draft.
The current draft policy is, so that when it comes time for you all to vote on that policy, you have a bit of idea from here on going with that. There's going currently, there is one policy document that oversees like the bare bones policies for SUFAC, NALT, and RSGA's process. And then each of them will have a separate procedural document that outlines the more specific things within that process. The policy work group is actually Wednesday. SUPAC will be getting very similar document and talk that I'm giving today tomorrow. And so these things are sort of finally rapidly developing after months of work from our committee. So just wanted to hand these out and answer any initial questions if you have. I don't represent. You take one second.
Take one pass though. You know what's up. Is there anything else?
Have already questions.
Other questions?
These changes in, I'm willing to ask, and the budgetary idea that we can have enough money to give the organizations adequate funding that they need.
So these policy and procedures aren't specifically related to decisions made by SUPAC. These are largely related to how the committee functions, of what rules there are, and kind of reassessing how our policy matches our actual procedures. Because a lot of the things that are currently in SUPAC policy don't necessarily match what we do, how we do it, how we've done it for years, or maybe aren't best serving students. So if you'll notice, in that draft, it lists a chair, a vice chair of operations, and a vice chair of education, which is different than our current chair and vice chair structure. This is something, one of a few changes that we're making in hopes to codify practices that will better support the work of student leaders who are doing this work.
If you recall, 2 weeks ago, I think we approved an art bill on the student opinion on university policies. And in that, it established, but in September, the university established a assistant policy document. Remember, that's what this is. Any other questions for Terrence Smith? And not seeing any.
You can always email me, sufat@uww.edu. Happy to answer your questions. I'll stress one more time that this is a draft. It's not officially what you will be voting on. So when you do eventually receive the official policy and procedure, I encourage you to go look through it as though it is a new document.
Not seeing any questions. Yeah, thank you, Chairman Smith. We'll go into questions for Chair Holmbeck, who I completely forgot about. Are there any questions for Ms. Holmbeck? I'm not seeing any. I apologize. All right, we're gonna go a little out of order here. To the second item in new business. R 252604, resolution honoring the significant contribution of Bandy Holmbeck. Submitters have the floor whenever they're ready.
One of our submitters is distracted in the back.
So,
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. A group of us, the submitters, have gotten together, including Rodriguez, and realized that there's been incredible work done on this campus, particularly on the shared governance space, and that some recognition needs to be had on what a more fitting time than it's around time.
Today we present you with a resolution honoring the significant contributions of Andy. Andy's been a fantastic partner in the shared governance work that we're doing, and he's been instrumental in the creation of advisory council for student government. I can't think of a more fitting person to come from Rock Student Government Association. So as you look at the bottom here, this is an emeritus resolution. Emeritus is the highest honor that the Whitewater Student Government can give one of our students. Comes with birth. Right.
Yeah, I mean, working with Andy has been absolutely amazing. He's just a bright light. But it's just he's been really able to tie our two organizations together a whole lot better than I've seen in my time at least. Although I haven't been here for any reason as some of my compatriots. It really is being in like our meetings and pop into the office every once in a while. It really just it'll make my day. So, yeah.
There's a word in 259 in the shared governance room on the wall. It's in big lettering. It's stewardship. And my freshman year, Bill Haynes talked about that word a lot. Like, what does it mean to be a good steward to your constituents? And I don't think I've seen a better demonstration of stewardship around Tennessee. It's unreal. When folks talk about what we do at WSG, one of the first things I mentioned in terms of some of the work I've been a part of is the collaboration at the end of last year that continued in the fall with Rock County. And that started because after a Senate meeting, Andy came up to us and said, hey, I think there's meat on the bone here. We have work to do. And sometimes you need to kick in the butt like that to get to work, and we did dang good work. You know, that is what stewardship is.
I mean, coming up here and during your report and calling out the president of the universities of Wisconsin has some gumption to it.
That's stewardship.
Yeah.
That is.
I received the message doing that was badass. The only word that came from my day up in the gallery.
I texted Doug immediately. I said that was badass, and I'm on the record saying that because it is. You know, like that is what strong stewardship looks like. And there is no more obvious representation of that than Andy Holmes. So thank you so much for the.
You'll allow me, I'll just read what emeritus status is. Each year, WSG will have the ability to confer emeritus status to exceptional members of the organization who have gone well above and beyond in their position in service of students. This is the highest honor a member of WSG can receive and is meant to confer a title for the member's lifetime as recognition of their exceptional service. So, with that, we're into questions. Are there any questions for the submitters? Senator Nealon?
There's perks.
Have it up. Read. The member will be referred to by their title in all formal WSG matters in the future and will retain that privilege for life. Whenever present at a WSG Senate meeting, they will be recognized as being present by the Speaker of the Senate. Emeritus members will have speaking rights at Senate meetings as deemed appropriate by the Speaker of the Senate. And will have the right to submit resolutions that honor individuals to the WSG Senate. Emeritus members will be featured on the WSG website. Will be invited to the annual WSG banquet at no charge if practical. Practical. Have the right to serve on the WSG Scholarship Committee, and then upon conferral, the legislation shall be transmitted to the Chancellor for acknowledgement. Any other questions for the submitters? Nope. That's the thing. We're into content changes. Any content changes? Seeing none, we'll go to clerical edits. Any clerical edits? Also saying, with that, we're into discussion. Is there anyone, any discussion? Who wants to lead us off? Dr. Gross?
Yeah, I want to reiterate. Together on the Instructor Awards and really kind of solidifying that kind of how to honor both here and also as well. And just, I don't know, I think about like, just like the meeting and stuff, and like they would just like bounce ideas off, and it honestly, like, the big common idea, there's a really big, and I just think for them.
Clerk West?
I think Andy's one of the few people that has came up to me and has been willing to just like support me in my role. Andy has had so many great ideas and has helped me with so much, especially getting like Rock County included on our website and in our drive. And every time I see them in the WSG office, I always get so excited because they drive just come see us all the time. So
President Bradley?
We've been here for 4 years, but out here right now, it's the best relationship between Rock Student Government Association, Whitewater Student Government, who's speaking for me, I'd like to yield some time maybe to the Rock folks in the gallery, touching that a little bit. I think it's because of the work of Andy that got us kickstarted on this, but you can talk a little bit about how do things look now compared to the past?
Oh, yeah,
I would agree. I think this year we really stepped it up and he just did that sort of automatically. Also, big picture. I think that's part of trying to
I can add as a reminder, in the previous president stepped down, and I think able to work through the time and stepping into that role and he wasn't even sure whether confident.
Senator Reed?
We always heard about Rock government, but I think through Amy, we were able to see them. You all came to our fall retreat and learn with us and were actively participating and learning as well. I think that shows you all and continue growing our, not only our relationships, but your fun. Yeah, that's what they're. Very good. Chairman.
Speaker Wilson, or whoa, President-elect Wilson.
Brilliant. We talked a lot about Andy's ability as an operator. The last thing I want to touch on is that Andy's just like an amazing bright spot of human. To just show up in the office and say hi to everyone and remember everyone's name, and to like give gifts occasionally, and like just like an outstanding human being to be around. Lucky to get to write this, but also, you know, bittersweet in that no more office visits. It's not nearly as much likely, and you know, just I can't. You have not met Andy yet. Meet Andy. It's bright spot of humanity, and that's rare.
I will note that the emeritus conferral is upon your conferral of your degree, so you'll have to come visit us next year to get the status. It's a little hook to come back, right? But any other discussion? Not seeing any. Madam Clerk, if you please call the roll. Vote of aye, please to adopt. Vote of nay. Vote against it. You can pass. You can fade. You know the deal.
no. You didn't say it. You didn't say it.
Madam Clerk, if you please call the roll.
Like
Whenever
that.
you're ready.
Senator Coleman. Senator Janetti. Senator Gielig. Senator Kiwu. Senator Lang. Senator Majors. Senator Marty, Senator Purnell, Senator Punzel, Senator Reberg, Senator Reyes, Senator Schroffnagel, Senator Thompson, Senator Vanderhyde, Senator Wheatman, Senator Werner, Senator Arnett, Speaker Patricus.
Aye. And vote 18-0. I want to congratulate, or
Oh, point of information, you missed a Rock County senator.
we don't have any Rock County district attorneys. In a vote of 18-0, R 252604, resolution honoring the significant contributions of Annie Holbeck has passed unanimously. I know you just spoke, but if you want to say a few words, you're more than welcome to again. All right, we're gonna stay with that. We're gonna go stay out of order. We're gonna go to unfinished business, starting with S 252611, the Senate Leadership Reorganization Act of 2026. And I believe Chairman Reberg, Senator Reberg, do you have a CRC? For, all right, if we can start with that, I'd love to hear it.
So for the common, two reasons for that officers reporting. And then we have a couple that we told from backward that. Okay. And following rows, overall, where the duties, the older version was, it aligned with current practice system of the speaker and had more descriptive roles duties than the older version did. For the outreach officer, it had his role for outreach organization, and then for the parliamentarian, what is here listed it also removed Senate outreach duties from the parliamentarian, which is good. Duties that Senate officers clarifies the process for Senate positions. Delegation of outreach from Senate parliamentarians to outreach officers allows the former the parliamentarian to focus better on things parliamentarian while getting more people reach the ability to spin into it. Then it strengthens the internal structure of Senate leadership by revising positions, by revising position descriptions to ensure accuracy and consistency. It establishes the Senate outreach officer, which creates that dedicated role for communicating and outreach. And it allows for the selection of parliamentarian based on competency rather than popularity. And then for using for organizational impact, it creates an additional position instead of outreach officer. It will create additional opportunities for involvement in the WSG and for constituents and enhances the Senate's capacity to conduct outreach and coverage.
Alrighty, with that, we're into discussion. Let's start us off. Senator Punzel?
So I would vote aye on this if there wasn't for maybe that. Why are we creating a whole new elected position when, one, the parliamentarian already comes in now with, sorry, going up to this president like Isaiah, creating a new director position as well for student engagement and Greek life. With that in mind too, does the student really need to exist based off that? Based off those two big factors right there.
For discussion, but I see President-elect Wilson has something.
I can provide some clarity. This is not a position on the current legislation on the floor. But I can say that as it relates to the rectorship, I don't see there being ton of overlap as long as my current understanding of outreach events isn't like really pivoted within the next 6 months. I don't see the work of that director really overlapping with the work of what SAP, is that, what is the SU, I'm sorry, the SU. I don't see that overlap being, that large, just based on my current vision, so if that helps provide any comments.
Senator Reber, do you have?
Yeah, I would say that the two, this director positions are focused on, say, board, some of the engagement from the executive board. Completely separate project. Only them as a body or only a 7 year body, that should be, both of us should be a separate task. I think that there is about policy. Experience is a very hard role to have their own, figure out how we feel like we're split between two things and they don't really kind of work all that well together. So I would say that.
Any other discussion? Senator Giannetti.
Just to echo. I think that really the sort of role of outreach and the role of sort of interpreting parliamentary procedure attracts two calibers of individual, which sort of breaking up that role, having a dedicated position to be able to sort of handle outreach. I think generally a lot of people whose strengths are more for that. They can direct their full attention to that rather than having to juggle both parliamentary procedure and
President Bradley.
I like the idea. I think it fits well, and it's hard to know all the proper rules, procedure, as well as coordinate the outreach. I'm in favor of Sue. However, but I'm still opposed, quite opposed, to the parliamentarian being appointed by the speaker. I'd rather see it remain in the Senate. The Senate. Both Senate votes not for appointing someone.
Senator Thompson, and then Senator McIntyre.
to agree with the previous, I think the segregation would be what would be done for the Senate. Or proving decision. For that, would be more than.
Senator Reber.
One player. That would be given by the person. This was what was talked about in the last meeting and all the fitness.
Motion on the floor to adopt that clerical edit. Can you just say it again for the record and then submit it?
Directly after 5.1A, we'll say the appointment will be done on six numbers given by members of each district representative. The speaker that must choose.
Can you also send that to the clerk?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Senator Lang. Seconded. We're discussion on that motion. Senator Reber, can you submit the motion?
Like I said, I think this was this like that. I really like those. Whatever they want and give out that. And I do where the speaker taking who they think that they would. So hearing so that it's a critical job because it should be an opportunity. Or get a little bit up on your shoulder. I think it's a lot better. Personally, I think it also someone who's taking my seat.
Still in discussion on that motion, Thunderlang.
Yeah, this was kind of the only hiccup that I had with this legislation. I, like Senator Rich, can see both sides of it. I understand why we should have. At the end of the day, regardless of who the speaker is, who the Senate is, safeguards in place because there will always be someone. I'm not saying that that is any. Very.
Senator Coleman.
I believe that with these speakers' question, there should be a reflection based off of the university rules and student staff. So concrete questions and a committee that seeks to also evaluate their effectiveness and their may I ask, Parliamentarian Purnell, what your background is in university information?
Sure. Political science education. Yes.
Do follow.
So, there is a stark difference between let's, for example, science versus biology or experience and the objectives that they have in university.
Thank you for discussion. Any other discussion? I'm seeing Senator Wheatman.
Point of order, this is a change.
I'm interpreting it as a clerical edit. If you'd like, we could vote on it if it's content clerical, but. What?
Can you restate or change? Can you restate?
Senator Weaver, could you restate the change for the record?
Right after they'll say, like, after all the taxes, say they appoint will be done from 6 nominations, so we get it under each district of the Senate. The Senate special committee between 6 nominations. Or the speaker for the Senate, that must choose between these 6 nominations.
I'm interpreting this as a motion to overrule the ruling of the chair. So it's been moved by Senator Wheaton. Is there a second? Senator Plundle. Okay, now that's a cheat sheet in front of them.
Good question.
All right. Citizen appeal, the ruling of the chair. We're in discussion on that motion. It's been moved and seconded. As the chair, I will give my rationale and then we'll go to Senator Wheaton. This does not change any content, right? It is still, it is, as the submitter of the clerk put it, said it does not change that first step, right? It is appointed by the Speaker of the Senate. And under how it is currently written, you could do what Senator Reberg moved to amend this to, right? It just gives more clarification on what step 2 is or could be. But Senator Wheaton, as the maker of the motion.
Right, you're right, you said it doesn't change the first step. What about the second step back, that ends up changing after it affects after it's affecting that? This is going to change that, therefore content change, because the content shift. And I'll stand on that. Yeah, because to me, a clerical edit is
This would be a simple majority.
capitalizing the letter, putting grammar, all of those things. Also, this could have been done that last week, could have waited another week, we could have put. I chose to make this because it is the right choice to make. It isn't not, it is a content change, because it's gonna change that second step. Still part of the process. And overall, I'm looking out for this because I love this bill so much and I want this to go through. I love the opportunities to give the organic and the whole. And I think on that note, we need to move that.
Senator Giannetti, did you have?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at it, it just expounds upon what it says to the appointments. It is vague in terms of the process, so I think it doesn't really adjust. It's vague. It's still the Speaker of the Senate looking for nominations. They're seeking on full, they get people interviewed, and then the person who they decide to nominate then gets presented to the Senate. In terms of, say, there isn't really necessarily changes through the process. It's just expounding upon how the appointment.
Just gonna go in order here. Senator Thompson.
I mean, but you're adding this content, you're adding more description to what it rather than, like, you're not just doing like little grammar clerical checks, you're adding context.
Senator Punzel.
Back on the previous points, namely, the thing is, too, is like, we're gonna read it out loud, and I'm gonna point out exactly where is what. And what will be done from 6 nominations that will be given by members of the district of the Senate. There then must choose between these 6 nominations. That wasn't originally in the bill. That is something completely new, so that is no longer a red line. That is a full-on concept.
Senator Reberg.
When I was doing some research earlier, I think there, it actually looks like it's not. I think Jim very much looked like Senator Wheaton said, and that's a lot of the times we get there, let it. Well, you know, I gotta get to be doing something like that. A player's wedding can cover it like that. A player's wedding can also cover an eviction that wasn't really present in the bill before. I think that this was something that was originally wanted and originally kind of just oversight, kind of just missed in the original process. And that's why I argued that it was a clerical edit. I would feel that pretty nice that they're brought.
Senator Lang, did you have something? No, Senator Wheaton.
I've heard a lot of like talk about missing things and expanding things. That is changing something. If something is missing, or you want to expand something like that, this is doing, then that's changing it and that quantifies the next step and then the next step, another step. And I think we just need to think about this as how we go about creating legislation and doing what's best for constituents as well as the future of our bodies. And I think that even me standing up, deciding to push back a bill another week if it's not ready or changing outcomes because it's not ready, then it's not at the shape it needs to be to best serve our constituents at the end of the day.
Senator Reberg with the.
I will say that pushing it back, pushing April back to the very week. I suppose it's supposed to be weeks. That in our standing rules. If we're not passing it this week, we can set the standing rules to push it third.
Not sure, but any final discussion? I'm not seeing any, but due to what the motion is, Madam Clerk, please call roll. A vote of aye. You have a point. Simple majority. Right. 2/3.
Yeah, simple majority of entire body, so.
So, okay, simple majority. A vote of aye is to consider this a content change.
So. With 20 total senders. So it would be.
Okay.
It's not just those present.
It's everyone, including Bacon? Oh. Okay. So it's an 11 to pass. A vote of aye is to overrule this as not a clerical edit. And then we would not be able to further consider it unless someone moves to suspend the standing rules, right? A vote of nay is to allow this, or to continue to allow this to be a clerical edit.
About 2/3.
Yield the parliamentarian.
Majority, okay, thank you.
Is that how they all say it, or is
It
it?
is the for appeal for gentle case or
But yeah, but like a motion, is that like appeal of the whole, or of the whole body, or just of those present?
what?
Is it of just those
Of the whole
present?
body.
Of the whole body, those not, including those not here?
Yes.
Okay, and that's 11?
Yeah, because we 20 times.
Okay. Everyone understand that? Vote of aye is to overrule, or overrule? Appeal my ruling. Would consider this a content change, and then we would no longer be able to further consider it. A vote of nay is to allow this to be a clerical edit, and treat that as such. Everyone understands. You can also pass and abstain, but. Madam Clerk, whenever you're ready, should you please call the roll.
Senator Janetti, Senator Geelig, Senator Kiwu, Senator Lang, Senator Majors, Senator Marty,
No, is that, no personal, honestly, I.
Senator Purnell, Senator Punzel, Senator Reberg, Senator Reyes, Senator Schroffnagel, Senator Thompson, Senator Vanderhyde, Senator Wheatman, Senator Werner, Senator Arnett, Senator Coleman, Senator Lang, Speaker Patrigues.
Nay.
10-8.
10-8. And about a 10-8.
The motion that was made was.
Appeal.
Was.
Sure.
Appeal was. Did you make a point of order or did you make an appeal? Point of order, then the motion would have been. The majority, simple majority.
Alright, with a vote of 10-8, the motion is adopted. So it is a content change, as the body has ruled. We could suspend the standing rules, consider a content change tonight, or we could push it 1 week. I'm attorney for now. Put a motion to adjourn. You need a second. I was looking for a second. Second by Senator Kraftnagel.
I can't do that while you have a motion open. And Reberg's motion still open.
A motion to adjourn takes precedence.
Okay.
No discussion. We're gonna go into a vote on a motion to adjourn it. You cannot, there's no discussion. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll on the motion to adjourn whenever you're ready?
Senator Gielig, Senator Kiwu, Senator Lang, Senator Majors,
I don't believe discussion is allowed, but you want to give a short response to the question?
Yes, we have been asked to, keep our meetings on to 8:30.
Aye.
Senator Marty,
Yeah, nay.
Senator Purnell, Senator Punzel, Senator Reberg, Senator Reyes, Senator Schroffnagel, Senator Thompson, Senator Vanderhyde,
Aye.
Senator Wheaton, Senator Werner, Senator Arnett, Senator Coleman, Senator Janetti, Senator Gielig, Speaker Patricus.
Aye. 14-4. In a vote to 14-4, we adjourned at 8:36.